Good day to you all. You are in Management Information Systems and Computer Application course. This is Unit 6, Social Media Information Systems. By now, should have watched Unit 6 Part 1 video. This is the Unit 6 Part 2 video, which I'm going to recap Unit 6 Part 1 briefly. I'm going to discuss Unit 6 Part 2. In these discussions, we have to discuss study questions as what is the social media information systems, how do social media information systems advance organizational strategy, which you have already covered in the previous video. As a recap, I'm briefly explain what is there, what we have discussed. We have discussed about the social media, what you mean by social media. Social media is a convergence of disciplines which relate to the computer science, management information systems, marketing, organization theory, psychology, as well as sociology. Social media enable people to form communities of practices, or simply communities, which are a group of people related by common interest. A social media information systems is an information system that support and sharing of content among networks of users. What are the key roles played by three organizational units under social media? Social media providers are there, which you can identify, such as example of Facebook, LinkedIn, X, which is formerly Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest, which provide platforms that enable the creation of social networks or social relationships among people with a common interest. As well as social media service providers, the users are there. Users could be both individuals and organizations that use social media, tries to build social relationships. To go through some statistics in Sri Lankan situations, 12.34 million internet users in Sri Lanka at the start of 2024, and 7.5 million social media users in January 2024, which is about 34.2% of total population. You can go through these statistics in this URL. And also we have communities, which we can simply identify as forming communities is a natural human drive, and they are formed based on mutual interest and transcend familial, geographic, and organizational boundaries. And most people belongs to several or many in different user communities, which mean individual could be linked to more than one social media communities. And the last discussion, we should have discussed about these components as well. These are the component of any information system, which is common to social media information system as well. We can have hardware, software, data, procedures, and people. You can see the social media providers and users and communities can be described in this diagram, which you have discussed in detail in the previous video. And also you have discussed about what is the relationship of information systems to organizational strategy. At the previous discussions in previous units, we have discussed about the link between organizational strategy to the information system. You must have remembered, we discussed about organizational strategy, determine the value chain, and which in turn determine the business process, and also the business process determine the information systems. The last discussion in the unit 6 part 1, we should have discussed about the value chain. The value chain, as you have remembered, the value chain can be identified as having primary activities and supportive activities. We have discussed about primary activities such as sales and marketing, customer services, and inbound logistics, outbound logistics, manufacturing and operations, and human resource. In the last discussion, we have gone through sales and marketing, customer services, inbound and outbound logistics, and how it linked with the social media information systems. And in today's discussion, we're going to discuss about manufacturing and operations and human resource and how they link to the social media information systems. Therefore, in our discussion, I'm going to continue how do SMIS advance organizational strategy, with those two value chain activities. And we're going to discuss about how do social media information system increase social capital, and how do companies earn revenue from social media, some of the companies, and how do organizations develop an effective social media information systems, and what is an enterprise social network will also in our discussion, and how can organization address social media information systems security concern also discussed in our discussions today under this video. If I am identifying social media and manufacturing and operations, social media is that we have identified as collection of people in the community, and users of this community design products, develop and support to develop the product and support supply relationships and improving operational efficiencies as well. The social media play a role in designing product and developing supply relationships as well as improving operational efficiencies. The user participate to the product design and product redesign most of the time, and user guided designs are there with the support of social media, which can be identified as crowdsourcing. The crowdsourcing concept is a dynamic social media process that employing users to participate in product design and product redesign. The user design can be created such as in video games or building or developing a shoe, such as you might be remember we discussed in the classroom about the Nike. The users can give the design. Users can ask the designers to incorporate their ideas to the building of shoes or preparing of shoes, and many other products, such as if you might be remember, we can have t-shirts, mugs with the support of user ideas to design and develop. So in manufacturing and operations, social media can be incorporated in most of the time. Social media has been widely used in business to consumer relationship to market products to the end users, and also in manufacturing, social media will be helpful in starting social use of social media to become industry leaders, as well as to promote brand awareness and generate new business to business leads to the retailers. The manufacturers can use social media by starting a blog and discuss latest industry related news, post interviews with experts, and comments on how product innovations can be done. And they can also create YouTube channels and post videos of product reviews and testing, as well as factory walkthroughs can be also incorporated to the social media to popularize the products with the audience in the social media. And also start Facebook or X account to pursue consumer stories also can be incorporated to social media in related to the manufacturing area and make it popularized. In case of operations, use of social media to improve communication channels within the organizations, such as YAML by messenger, by managers to solve internal operations inefficiencies. You can share the ideas. What are the internal operations in the organization and what are the inefficiencies that we have can be simply discussed with the support of Microsoft YAML, and externally with consumers, such as use of X to identify product shortages or spike in demand in a new product can be also discussed and identified with such social media communities. In related to the human resource, the social media, organization can use social media sites like LinkedIn to hire best people more quickly and at a lower cost. You know that LinkedIn is very popular among all the professionals. We can identify their LinkedIn profile, and based on the LinkedIn profile, we can identify the most suitable people for the organizational roles. And human resource departments basically follow the LinkedIn profiles of the people who are there in the industry, and they might go in after them and pick them for their positions that they might be vacant in the organization. Once the employee is hired, employee can leverage a new employee social network to hire more candidates just like him or her. That's a very, very common thing in the industry nowadays. You can identify the people, those who have the LinkedIn profile might be linked with some other people, those having the similar caliber. Well, in that case, we can easily identify these people and link these people with the support of social media community like LinkedIn. And there are some employee communications also can be done with the social media, which you can use internal personal sites such as my site, my profile, or SharePoint, or other similar enterprise systems can be used for the purpose of employee communications and improve their knowledge as well as to get ideas from other people and identify people those who are having good qualities to recruit to the human resource division and other divisions in the organization. And there are some risks in social media as well, which relate to the human resource. Human resource concern the possibility of error when using sites such as Facebook to form conclusions about the employee. You might not be identify the employee, and real picture of the employee might not be displayed, might be predicted with the support of Facebook accounts. Information in the Facebook account might be fake or sometimes might be fabricated based on the preference of the user. That might be a risk which incorporate to the social media which relate to the human resource. And also there might be some social media might be too defensive in some time. So obviously promoting unpopular management messages. You are having some capabilities of making different changes, and you might be popularizing unpopular messages which might be impact to the organization, might not take in the correct picture of the situation. And one of the important things that we need to discuss is about the how do social media information systems increase social capital. And what is the social capital? Social capital is the investment of social relations with the expectation of return in the marketplace. So once you are creating a profile and once you are identifying that the social capital is always incorporated into the profile. You can see the social capital at work in your personal life by identifying, by linking with other people, which can be strengthen your social relationship. When you help someone to get a job, or set a friend up to a date, or introduce friend to someone famous, might be strengthen your social relationship. And also, your social relationship might be weakened, or the strength might be weakened your social relationship by continuously reloading or declining a request for help, and failing to spend time with your friend might create in you a kind of a bad image of you in the personal life. And in the personal life, you are investing in social capital when you attend to a business function for the purpose of meeting people and reinforcing relationship might be creating a social capital. And similarly, in social media can be used to increase social capital. How can we do that? By recommending or endorsing someone to the LinkedIn might be creating a social capital. We know that the LinkedIn, we can link with other people and we can put tags, we can put different comments on the pictures, and we can encourage people. Likewise, the different social media systems can be used to create the social capital of a person. And it's like linking a picture, liking a picture on the Facebook, or tweeting or retweeting a tweet. We know that since the Twitter is not anymore there, there's a word called exceeding or scripting its message, or commenting on Instagram picture might be improving the social capital of a person or an organization. And how do social media information system increase social capital? And we can see what is the value of social capital, how to identify the value of social capital. Social capital adds values in 4 ways. What are these 4 ways? We can have information, we can have influences, we can have social credentials, or personal reinforcements would be there to add values to the social capital. Relationship in social network can be provide information about opportunities, alternatives, and problems and other factors important to a business professionals. Therefore, once you are thinking of information to add values to the social capital, you can provide information about the different opportunities, different alternatives, as well as to identify some facts or giving some important messages to the professionals. As a business professional, this could be a friend introducing to a potential new supplier, might be example, or letting you know about the opening of a new sales territory, might be information that add value to the social capital. And about the influencers, you can think about uh, influencing a decision maker at your employer or in the organization who are critical to your success, might be used as the influence. The relationship provide an opportunity to influence decision maker, is the second type of value that you can add the social capital. This is a kind of example in the real life. You can say that playing golf every Saturday with your CEO of the company, you work for could increase your chance of being promoted. So it's a in a practical life, if you are having good rapport with the CEO, there might be a good chance of promoting. Likewise, the influencing capabilities, or if you are an influencer, you can simply, if you have a good relationship with the high rank people, it might be a chance to influence to their decisions. And also, the social credentials is one of the important thing which you can increase social capital. And what is social credentials? By link to a network of highly regarded contact is a form of social credentials. You can enjoy in the glory of these with whom you are related. And mainly, if you are having some context, and if you are having context with a critical person standing with you, or if you are showing that you are having a good rapport with the people, if you're having a good relationship with the high rank people, it might be a kind of a social credentials that you are creating, right? Then it means that if you are having to work with, say, a critical person and standing with you, or may provide resources to support you, might be a kind of a message that given to the other people once they are using social media. The last one is about the identification of professional's identity by link to social networks or reinforces a professional identity, image, and the position in an organization or the industry. It reinforces the way you define yourself to the world or to yourself. What image that you have created to the world is basically is created by the social media. For example, being friend with a banker, a financial planner, and investors may reinforce your identity as a financial professional, which means that if people see that you are having a good relationship with the friends as bankers, financial planners, and they believe that you have a good rapport and you have a good relationship with those people, might create a value or to the social media, and it increase the social capital of a person. How do social network add value to businesses? Today, most of the progressive organizations maintain a presence on the Facebook, LinkedIn, or X, and possibly other sites. We know that most of the organizations nowadays having their social media appearance, they are having their own social media communities. They include links to their social networking presence on their websites and make it easier for customers and interested parties to leave a comment. Uh, this is a kind of an important thing to understand how social networks add value to the business. Consider each of these elements of social capital. Mostly we identify, once you identify the social capital and what is the value that it add to the business, we identify the number of relationships, strength of the relationships, and resource control by friends are the main things that we identify in elements of social capital. Using social network to increase the number of relationships. We have learned that elements of social capital are number of relationships, strength of the relationships, and resources controlled by friends. And to increase the number of relationships, in traditional business relationships, clients typically share their experience verbally. We know that in traditional businesses, we say that this organization is good and this organization customer relationship is very much pleasant. Likewise, we might share the ideas verbally, and such communication is unreliable and brief. We mostly identify the brief, and we might be not. We might once you have verbally explained, people might not remember it, and it might not be there in their mind for a long time. And those words does not live for a days or weeks. But in case of social media communication, if you can use that, you experience using text, pictures, and videos instantly to everyone in your social network. Not as in verbal communication. In social media, you could post, you might be put some comments, you might be text some pictures, and you might be you might be creating videos of your experience and share with other people. By the use of text, pictures, and videos, and basically the use of multimedia, and incorporated that into social network, might create a good relationships, and it might create a good publicity to organization or a person. So once you are identifying the number of relationships, and most of the time, it's if you are using the social media and it compared to the traditional relationship, use of a social media relationship is very much advanced as well as very much productive. For instance, a wedding photographer can promote his or her business by asking a client to like the Facebook page, and wedding photos posted there. In the picture, the figure 6.6, the next slide, explain about this. This is the wedding photographer's Facebook page. Right, wedding photographer's Facebook page, and might be requested by user 1 to put a comment, and the user 1 will share this information with user 4, 5, and 6, and in turn 6 will share might be that the post might be seen by user 10, 11, 12, and it might be go to user 7. Likewise, it's a network of network. The photographer can tag people the client's picture on the Facebook and ask the clients to tweet or seeds about her experiences. And all the people in the client's social network users 4 to 6. These users 4 to 6 see the link, see the likes, tags, and tweets or seeds. And using social media, the photographer has thus grow a social network to the reach potential clients who she wouldn't have otherwise had access to. These people might not have a link with the photographer, but once this user 1 is commenting on that, once the user 1 share the picture, all these people will see the picture and might identify the photographer, and it might a kind of a free awareness that is given about the photographer to all the parties in the social network. Likewise, you can simply create a message, and it increase the number of people that you are creating the relationship. Social media is quickly spreading throughout the network of networks. How do social network add value to business? It's a continuation, and we have identified the relationship or number of relationship. This is about the strength of the relationship. Using social network to increase the strength of the relationship. The strength of the relationship for an organization is measured by likelihood that the other party will perform actions beneficial to the organization. If I am putting a kind of a post, and what will be the reaction of the party who might be seeing the post, and how it's going to improve that message to the other party. And positive reviews, social media posts, and other forms of endorsement signal strong relationships. Every time if you're having a positive comments and different posts in a positive manner, and in the form of endorsement, push might be given by the social media, might be a strong relationship, show the strong strength of the relationship in most of the time. In the case of photographers client relationship, The number of friends in the client network matters. You can see that if the client one having many friends, the message or the photo might be seen by many people in a month time. But the strength of these connections is equally important. It's not only the number of people, but the strength of this connection, how they are sharing this information is important for the spread of the message throughout the community. And frequent interactions enhance relationship and build social capital for fostering commitment and loyalty. If you are having a frequent connections, you are putting likes to the people, if you are interacting with the social media, if we create a kind of a good reactions, it shows that commitment and the loyalty of the parties, those who are engaged in that community. However, sustained interaction require mutual perceived value. If you need to have a sustained interactions, there should be some benefit to the other party as well. Promoting organizations to offer interactives to maintain favorable relationship is very much important. But once you are creating a social media connections, you might need to see that what the other party is doing, how much active the other party will always important to identify the strength of the relationship. Using social networks to connect to those with more resources is an important thing. The value of an organizational social capital is influenced by social capital of those it is connected to. Every time if the social capital of a person will be highlighted or will be high with the people those who are connected with, and what number of connection that people having and what's the strength of this connection will always matter. While the quantity of the relationship is significant, the quality and relevance of these connections matter more in most of the cases. Right? You might be seeing the example, the company selling adult diapers having 1,000 university students as followers will have less value. Instead, having 10 followers who are in the retirement home would be more valuable. You can see that the relevance of the people, those who are linked to that. Here it says that adult diapers, there might be nothing to do with adult diapers for 1,000 university students, but for the 10 followers who are in the retirement home might be interested about the adult diapers. Likewise, you can see the relevance and the quality of this context rather than the quantity of the content once you are thinking about the connections within the social media community. How does companies earn revenue from social media? There's a concept called making a user the product. What is the idea of making the user the product? Social media users expect free access to the platform, creating a challenge for companies to monetize their application, services, or the content. Every time they expect a free connection, and companies attract users by offering free product, but need to find ways to make money from them. If even though we might be most of the social media is free to use, there should be a way to keep that freedom, and there should be as if given there's no free lunch. If you are maintaining a social media with the support of different technologies, you should have a kind of money to raise that, money to keep that connection and make it money is an important thing. It's not free product in most of in many times there might be a way to find or earn money out of that social media. The answer is by making the user the product. So the idea of making the user the product is very much common in social media communities nowadays. The primary revenue source for social media companies is to advertising, where users, attraction, and data. Because once you think of the user attention, it has attention and the data are sold for advertisers. Mostly once you are thinking that social media or the communities are there, a lot of people are gathering. The way that they earn money is identifying the attention and the data that lingering with the social media. If you are having social media 100 million people, or if you're having social media 10,000 people, all these people ideas, all these people behavior can be tracked with the social media. Therefore, attention and the data need to be most of the time important. Therefore, once you are thinking of advertising and user attention and the data is very much important for the advertisers. The advertising platforms like Google target users based on their behavioral and interest. So once you think of a behavior of a user and the interest of the user, the mainly they target those ideas and they can simply spread the ideas by identifying the behavior and interest of the users. Effectively selling user attention to advertisers is always very much important and profitable business. Once you are thinking of making the user the product, you are identifying the attention of the user and the data relevant to their behavior is very much common and very much usable to sell and get more and more businesses to the social media. And what are the revenue models for social media? Very much important to understand. Once you are identifying companies and revenue from social media, what are the revenue models for social media? Mainly, the two revenue models are there: advertising and charging for premium services. What are these? Advertising is very much common, as I told you earlier. Social media companies primarily generate revenue through advertising with a platform like Facebook and Twitter earning a significant portion of their income from advertisement or ads. You might be seeing that if you log into the social media, how many number of ads pop up, or based on those user, the ads might be changing. The way that you are might be, or your profile, your age, your gender. If you are giving all this information, the advertisement change based on the person and based on the user. Therefore, advertising is one of the important business in social media. Various forms of advertising on social media include paid search and display or banner ads, mobile ads, classifieds, and digital video ads are among most of the famous advertising mediums and advertising types. And digital advertising offers advantage over traditional media, allowing advertisers to track responses directly and employ pay-per-click model. Most of the time, pay-per-click model is very common in social media. You can identify how many number of people are interested about that advertisement, how many number of people click on that advertisement for more information can be simply identified with the digital advertising. And another way to grow ad revenue is to increase site value with the user contributions. You can identify many users can contribute, and with the site value might be important. They might be put comments and they might be give different ideas to the social media advertisements, and it might be a very much important way to grow ad revenue. Increasing user engagement contribute to site value, leading to more frequent visits and higher ad revenue. Every time, if you can see that many of the users are engaged with the social media, and it increase the site value, and it will be helpful to the organization to grow. And connecting user communities to a platform can be resulted in more users to site. They will add more value. Existing users will return more frequently, and consequently, the more ad clicks there will be in the social media. If you have users who might be new users, who might be existing users, they can easily improve this communication and frequently return, frequently visible, frequently commented users are very much welcome to the social media sites, because why? They can create more clicks, and that clicks, once the clicks are more, when you can easily market your social media among the other organization. The other revenue model is the premium. The premium model provides basic service for free and charges for premium features, uh, as seen with LinkedIn offering upgrades to its standard product. We know that LinkedIn free version is there. If you are using LinkedIn free version, you can simply maintain a LinkedIn version, but you can't see who are the people who might be watched your LinkedIn and who might be searching for about information about you. But if you go to the premium version, you can identify, you can see from which country the people seeing your profile, and who are the people who have seen your profile. All this information is visible to the premium users. So most of the time, such premium model is there in many of the social media applications to give more benefits to the user and make the user to a type of person who might not use it free, and but to person who might be creating generating some money for the social media and make use of social media effectively. Social media platforms generate revenue through various means like selling apps, virtual goods, or affiliated commissions or donations. And these are some examples of these. You can see that selling apps. Most of the social media sites such as Facebook use apps such as Facebook Shops, Facebook Marketplace, Facebook Live Shopping, Facebook Catalog, or Facebook Ads, or Facebook Messenger are some of the apps which will link with the Facebook. And same as Twitter, Twitter Shops are there, and many of the social media we can see similar apps is available as revenue generating models. And you can see that free to pay game Frontiers generate $296 million from the sales of virtual goods in April 2018. And Wikipedia took about $87.5 million in donation during 2017. Likewise, donations, affiliation commissions, and virtual goods and selling apps are value generating means of social media once you are thinking of revenue models in social media. How do organizations develop an effective social media information system? Now we have gone through social media and identified the importance of social media. The revenue generations can be done in social media. How can we create an effective social media information systems? There are 6 steps in the process of developing an effective social media information systems. The step 1 is to define your goal. You need to have a goal in creating an effective social media information system. The first step in developing social media information system is to clearly define what the organization wants to achieve with social media. We have to have a good idea what is the goal of the organization. For an example, better employee recruitment might be a goal, or quicker product development might be another goal, or becoming an industry product leader, or to increase customer loyalty or increase brand awareness might be the goal of the organization. Goal must be clear and deliberate and align with the organizational competitive strategy. You might be remember we have discussed about 4 competitive strategies for an organization, and once you are thinking of the developing effective social media information system, you need to have this goal in the beginning, and you have to define this goal in the beginning. Without clearly defining goal, you won't know whether your social media effort was successful. That's the main idea of defining the goal in the beginning. You don't know what is your goal. You don't know whether you have achieved the success, whether your social media information system is effective or not at the end of the process. And step 2 is to identify success metric. What do you mean by success metric? After you know what you want to accomplish by using social media, you need to identify metric that will indicate when you have achieved your goal. You need to have some indication whether you have achieved your goal. They referred as success metrics or key performance indicators. You might be remember in most of the discussions in management, we discuss about the key performance indicators or KPI. Here also, we need to have KPI for the social media information systems. For an example, hospital may measure patient seen, or manufacturer may look at the units produced or operational efficiencies as KPI in their related business. Likewise, in social media also, we need to have some KPI. The right metrics help you to make better decisions, while wrong metrics are meaningless and do not positively affect your decision making. Most of the time, we know that if we don't have the right metrics, we might not get the correct idea about the measurement and how we have achieved that, how much that we have achieved. So you need to have a right metrics in your hand to measure your performance and whether you have achieved that. For example, measuring the number of registered users on your site may be interesting but not meaningful. You know that number of users might not be meaningful. Earlier in the previous example of the diapers, we have discussed about that whether you need to have the relevant audience in your social media community. What really matters is the number of active users on your site each month. You need to have active users. If you don't have active users, If the users are inactive, they are lazy, if they are not giving any comments, that it might be not a good way to measure the success. The step 3 is to identify the target audience. This is also a very important thing, because we know that there are people around us, there are communities, but we don't know in which social media they are using. Therefore, in identifying the target audience, is to creating an effective social media information system is to clearly identify the target audience. Organizations go to great length to identify their target audience because it helps them to focus their marketing effort. Every time they need to think broadly, they need to think leisurely about their audience and to identify who need what. The certain social media platform attracts certain audiences. We know that, for an example, more than 81% of Pinterest users are women, and 92% of Instagram users are below 49 years, and 61% of LinkedIn users are over 30 years. Likewise, most of the time, the users for a given social media is different, and their interest based on their gender, based on their age, their interest might be differences. Therefore, most of the time, the target audience will influence which social media platform you use. So once you are thinking about the target audience, once you identify the target audience, based on the target audience, you can see whether you need to go for a print test, whether you're going to go for a Instagram, LinkedIn, or Twitter, or Facebook. Likewise, you can simply decide which social media type that you are selecting based on the audience that you targeting to sell your product or a service. And step 4 is define your value. After all, everything, you need to define your value. After identifying the target audience, you will need to define the value you will provide to your audience. Why should these users listen to you? Mainly, it's very much important to identify why people should listen to you, why people should maintain their contacts with your social media. Go to your website or like your post or tweet about your product. Are you providing news, entertainment, education, or employee recruiting or information? It might be depend on the people likenesses or dislikenesses. In the sense, you need to define what you are going to give to your audience. It's very important to identify what you are giving to the audience. It might be entertainment, it might be news, it might be some educational facts. You might be giving employment opportunities or for the job seekers. Likewise, you might be giving information for the people, those who are searching information. Likewise, you need to identify what audience are expecting. So in exchanging, for making a connection with you, audience expects something from the community. So every time you need to understand this very carefully, what's the value that you are giving back to the audience in return. If you are not sure about what you are expecting, what the audience are expecting from you, what you can do is you can start searching about the your competitors. What are the competitors' value that they are creating? How your organization put that value? Start by performing competitive analysis. What you can do is, if you are not sure about your value, what you should provide to your audience, you should see the competitors and what they give to their audience. Identify the strengths and weaknesses of your competitors' use of social media, how they are using the social media, what type of value that they are giving. It will be very much important to understand their values to define your values if you are not having that much of clear idea about the values you should give to the audience. Look at what competitors are doing right and what they are doing wrong will be one important way that you can simply decide your value. So as the step 4, you need to define your value and identify the value that you are giving to the audience in the community. And step number 5, make personal connections. It's a very important thing in the process of developing effective social media information system. The true value of social media can be achieved only when organizations use social media to interact with customers, employees, and partners in more personal, human, relationship oriented ways. If you need to understand the people, you need to give them what they need, as well as you need to keep a relationship with those people. Today, people want inform inform useful interactions that help them solve problems and satisfy unique needs. Every time the people might have different requirements, and we need to understand those requirements. This require you to engage audience members and ask them questions and respond to their post, but must avoid this. What you need to avoid? You need to ask the questions, you need to get the ideas of the people and respond to their post, but must avoid hard selling products. You should not sell the product by using your pressure to the audience by getting immediate actions and overwhelming audience members with the content. You should not provide more information to the audience and giving them kind of a uneasy situation in the social media, and contacting them too often also should not be done if you need to create a kind of a personal contact. You might be seeing that example. Apple Store do this with the team members are trained to act as customer problem solving consultants. They are never call them as sellers or sellers of products. They call them as customer problem solving consultants. They are supporting the audience. They are supporting the people or the users of Apple, and they might be creating kind of a rapport. They might be creating a relationship and keeping a kind of a good connection with the customers, which might be the main way that we can create the personal connection. That is step 5 we need to think about in developing an effective social media information system. The step 6 is gather and analyze data. What do you mean gathering and analyzing data? When creating a social media strategy, you need to gather the right amount of data necessary to make the most informed decisions. You need to have the data. Most of the decisions should be evidence-based. If you are not taking the data, you are not gathering the data, you might be not knowing what is happening in the social media. Online analytical tools like Google Analytics, Facebook Page Insights, Clicky, or Kissmetrics can be used to measure the success metrics defined earlier. So you know that what are the success measures, that success metrics which are using. They were such as Google Analytics, Facebook Page Insights might give you facts about the users of the social media. Examples could be statistical information such as which tweets get the most attention, or which scripts get the most attention, which posts generate the most traffic, and which social media platform generate the most referrals. Might be some information or some statistics which you can simply use to analyze and take decisions based on that. They can refine the use of social media based on the performance of your success metrics. So you can simply identify the success metrics earlier. That success metrics can be simply checked or compared with these analytics, and whether you can see that whether you have achieved that success into that level, then it might be a good idea whether you are going forward or whether you are going to change your strategy. You can simply think at this moment with the gathering and analyzing the data. Be sure to rely on analysis of a hard data, not anecdotes from the friends. Don't ever go with the friend ideas or with the way that giving us rumors. Don't follow these rumors. Don't just go with the rumors that you receive, that you heard from the people, those who are around you. Based on your analytics data, based on your hard data, always take decisions. That's the advice for the gathering and analyzing the data. Senior managers should look at the regular progress report to see how social media is affecting the organization. Therefore, all the time, the responsibility lies in the senior managers. They need to identify what are the things happening and what's the progress of the social media. They need to track these success metrics and identify how they need to go forward and what are the things that need to be changed as the last step of developing effective social media information system. Therefore, we have learned about 6 steps, which you can go and see what are these 6 steps, and you can easily identify these 6 steps to develop an effective social media information system. And what is the enterprise social network? You might be heard of this term in many places, enterprise social network or ESN. What is that? Enterprise social network is a software platform that use social media to facilitate cooperative work of people within an organization. We have seen that many of the organizations, they are having the social media. Apart from that, they having the ESN as well. Instead of using outward-facing social media platform like Facebook and Next, it uses specialized enterprise social software designed to be used inside the organization. Most of the organization, a large organization, now they are preparing their own social media inside the organization to share information and make the things clear to all the people. Example would be AML, which is a Microsoft product, a workplace by the Facebook, Slack, Jive, and Google Workspace are some of the example of the enterprise social network among the industry, within the industry. These applications may incorporate the same functionality used by the traditional social media, which include the blogs or microblogs, status updates, images, and video sharing. Personal sites might be there, and wikis might be there. All these commonly available features of the social media also available in these enterprise social networks. The primary goal of enterprise social network is to improve communication, collaboration, knowledge sharing, and problem solving and decision making. Within the organization, this can be effectively used for the purpose of collaborations and sharing the knowledge, as well as promoting different ideas and as well as for the decision making. The enterprise social network also very important to understand while you are working in the future in organizations. You might be encountered these enterprise social networks available in those organizations. How can organization address social media security concerns? This is one of the important thing because we are living in the world that we might be not secure every time. The social media also we might be not the same. We might be facing some difficulties with the security. Managing the risk of employee communication. Every time once you are managing the risk of employee communication, the first step that any organization should take is to develop and publicize social media policy. There should be a social media policy which is a statement of delineates employee rights and responsibilities. Every employee should have a right and responsibility while they are using social media in their organization. The best way to avoid missteps to include and social media awareness module in users annual security training. We know that most of the large organizations having the security training in line with their training program. The social media awareness module could be added to their annual security training to avoid this sort of a situation, as well as to train the people to face such situation. Managing the risk of inappropriate content. This is one of the important thing, how to manage the risk of inappropriate content, because social media is open. We know that anybody can access to the social media, any guest can put comments on the social media. Therefore, there's a risk of inappropriate content. And what we can do to avoid this, so we cannot actually block these people. We can block, but in the idea of opening, we might be popularizing the social media. We might be having many people with different mentalities. As with any relationship, comments can be inappropriate or excessively negative in tone, or be otherwise problematic. Right? These are some of the comments that you might be having. They might be inappropriate comments, or might be a negative comment with a negative tone, or might be some comments with problematic comments. An organization needs to determine how they will deal with such content before engaging in social media. We need to understand how we have to react to these negative comments or comments with a negative tone, how we are going to react. We are not reacting with a kind of a revenge in our mind. We need to have some idea how we should do that reaction, how we take that reaction. We need to have some idea while we are using social media. This is done by designating a single individual to be responsible for official organization social media interactions. We might not everybody going to react to these negative comments or problematic comments. There should be a one person should assign in that sense, and by creating a process of monitoring and managing social media interaction is the responsibility of that person. That person need to check the social media from the organizational side and see what are the reactions, what are the comments, and what are the problematic content that is added to the social media, and study them and react to them. How can organization address social media security and concern? The managing risk in an appropriate content is a continuation. And there's some the point as user-generated content or UGC, which simply mean content on your social media site that is contributed by the users. Is the essence of social media relationship. Once you are think about user-generated content and the contribution by the user, while it is very important for the relationship of the contributors in the given social media. A few examples of UGC that can negatively affect organizations include inappropriate content and unfavorable reviews. So most of the time, if it is inappropriate content or unfavorable reviews, you might be identifying, it might be harming, it might be a kind of a problematic for the social media that you are using. A part of managing social networking risk is knowing the source of potential problems and monitoring site for a problematic content. Therefore, every time that individual which is appointed for that purpose need to go through these content and identify whether they are problematic or whether they are creating potential problems might be creating by having that content in the social media that your organization relate to. Once such content is found, organizations need to respond appropriately. That is true, because why? Otherwise, that content might creating a bad image to the organization. And three possibilities of such situations are these. You have three situations most of the time that individual can identify and individual can react in these three ways. What are these three ways? You can leave it, you can respond to it, or you can delete it. If you are leave it, what do you have to do? Which means that not reacting to it, it serves as a free source of product review. You might be identify it as a blessing to the organization and understand that it's a good review. Presume that a customer might be giving a bad comment, but that comment, inside that comment, there might be a good lesson to learn for the organization, which can be useful for the product development and which can be useful for designing a new product sometime to improve the product to the level where customers are expecting. So you can leave it in such a situation. You might not need to do anything. You just leave it, but give the message to the organization. Sometimes you might be need to respond to it. Do something as response to the problematic content. If the response contribute insert into the content contributor, it may be generate a strong backslash. We don't know who have commented to that, and if you are trying to respond to this in a manner that we might be against to that person, there might be a big message might be creating inside the social media. In most cases, responses are best reserved for when the problematic content has caused organization to do something positive as a result. So if you are thinking of the situation, if you are going to respond to it, if we are responding, we have to think twice whether it create a positive result to the organization if you are going to respond to it. And in responding even, that person need to identify who have put that comment and how that comment can be responded, and if that comment can create a lengthy discussion or lengthy arguments afterward, we need to identify while we are respond to it. Otherwise, delete it. Delete contributions that are inappropriate because they are contributed by crackpots. We know that some of the people might not having a good mental health. They might put something bad to the organization. In that case, we might be deleting it. We might be not creating a lengthy discussions on that. We simply delete it and having nothing to do with that site and or contain absence of otherwise inappropriate content. If you are think of something which is bad to the organization, that it might be a kind of a malicious idea in that comment, we might be need to delete it, and without keeping any further discussions, we might be delete it and stop it from that point. Therefore, once you are thinking of such situation of bad comment, we can leave it, we can respond to it, or we can delete it as a result or as a response to a bad comment in a social media. So we have discussed about these things in our discussions. Therefore, in our discussion goes to all these ideas, and we basically discuss all these matters which we have planned to discuss. We discuss about what is the social media information system and how do social media advance organizational strategy. We discussed in the previous record. In this record, we mainly concentrate about how do social media information system increase the social capital, and also we discuss about how do companies earn revenue from social media, and we discuss how do organizations develop an effective social media information system, and also we discuss what is an enterprise social network, and finally we discuss how can organization address social media security concerns. We identified what are things people can do, organization can do to avoid bad comments, and what would be the reaction. With that, we end up the Unit 6 Part 2, and I believe that you have got enough idea about the Unit 6, social media information systems. Right? And that is the end of Unit 6 Part 2 record. Thank you so much for your patience and with your listening. You can go through the video and have more idea about the social media information systems. Thank you for your viewing and getting these ideas from Unit 6 in the management information systems and enterprise applications. Thank you.